Given the equation, identifying the following information and then graph the function. Notice that on top you have the same degree as the bottom. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to do vertical first. It's just kind of my habit. The vertical asymptote can be determined in a denominator. So you could take x squared minus 9, set it equal to 0, and solve. And you'll get the same answers as if you would factor it into x plus 3 and x minus 3 and solve. So that gives me answers of x equals 3 and x equals negative 3. Without the x equals in front, this would be wrong. Then I'm going to come down below. I'm going to find x equals 3 and negative 3. I'm going to graph those lines. It has to be dotted. Then I'm going to come up above. Since the degree in the numerator is equal to the degree in the denominator, that means the highest exponent on top is equal to the highest exponent on the bottom. I can take the leading coefficient on top and the leading coefficient on the bottom, and I can divide them. So negative 2 divided by 1 is negative 2. Now I'll go to where y equals negative 2, and I'll make a dotted line for the horizontal asymptote. The zeros can be determined by taking the numerator and setting it equal to 0 in this form. So I'm going to divide both by negative 2. X squared, well, 0 divided by any number is 0. And when you take the square root of 0, you still get an answer of 0. It's not like a plus 0 and a minus 0. So a 0 is x equals 0. And I'm going to graph that point. Now before I can do the domain and range, I'm going to grab the calculator. Please do second plus 712. I'm going to go up to y equals. I'm going to make a parenthesis and type in negative 2x squared and parenthesis divided by parenthesis x squared minus 9 and parenthesis. Then hit graph. So although they are not visible, the asymptotes, I can see the three sections. So the middle section, the lowest point is 0. It goes up on the right and up on the left. So I can come back here. Lowest point is 0, up on the right, up on the left. And I can also see that the other parts of the graph are happening in the sections off to the bottom left and the bottom right. Remember, this is just a rough sketch. How am I grading your sketch on the test? I need to visibly be able to see your asymptotes and where your sketches are happening, and I need to be able to see where the 0 is. So the domain, it's coming from the far left, and it continues to come to the right, it continues to move to the right until it hits this wall, this asymptote. So it's going from negative infinity until it hits this wall of negative 3, and it doesn't cross negative 3. Okay, that's this portion. Okay, we're going to jump over the wall. Now we're going to start again. It starts after negative 3, and it continues to go until it hits this wall of positive 3. Never touches it. Okay, it jumps over, it starts again. So it starts at positive 3, and it continues to move to the right with no end, so it goes from 3 to positive infinity. The domain for most students is a little more difficult, and that's because, and I'm going to highlight it so it just shows up. There's like this dead zone. There's this area where there's nothing, there's no graph in that area. So, range, it comes up from the bottom. There's no limit how far it goes down. It comes up from the bottom, and it keeps moving up on both sides until it gets to this wall, which is negative 2. Then it jumps over the wall, but it does not actually start the graph again until what y value? Okay, does it touch at y equals 0? So bracket 0, and there's no end how far up it goes up. There's no limit how far it goes up. Okay, as I go for end behavior, as I go to the far left, it is not going to go up endlessly or down endlessly. It's getting closer and closer to the asymptote of negative 2. Same thing as I go to the right, it's getting closer and closer to the asymptote of negative 2.